and we were able to make $14,211.73. That's the exact figure in 20 days. Hey everybody, it's Daxton Page. Welcome back to Musicians Ignite. And today I'm going to show you how to make more money from your merch table one-on-one whenever you're selling to fans. So when I was on tour with Sevendust back in 2021, that's a hard rock new metal band from the late 90s, we were out there and we were opening for them, and we were able to make $14,211.73. That's the exact figure in 20 days because we only played 20 shows on that particular tour. And I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. I'm going to show you the exact strategies that I used to help generate that revenue while I was out on tour. And just so you know, I had been on tour with Sevendust 2 years prior to that, and we made 3 times more using the strategies I'm about to share with you. So let's break down strategy number 1. I think this is probably the most important thing that you need to know when it comes to figuring out how to sell more merchandise. It actually starts on the stage. Funny enough, you may think, oh yeah, all these strategies are going to happen behind the table. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of great strategies that can happen when you're actually at the table doing the one-on-one sales. But more importantly, putting on an amazing show is the first step. If you don't have a great show and your music is okay and your performance is kind of sloppy, it's going to take a miracle to get people over there to your merch table. It might be out of pity that they come over there if your show is not high quality enough. But if you put on a killer, amazing show where you're very entertaining, you're very engaging, and your music holds up, that is the first place that we need to start if you really want to persuade a mass of people in a room to go purchase things from your merch table. That is the first part of the equation. A lot of people, when they're talking about monetization strategies, they kind of skip over that. And I think that's the most important part, is putting on an amazing show that connects with people. Now, what we did is we understood, okay, our band has a broad range of sounds. What sounds do we have that can best complement this tour? So Sevendust is a heavier, chuggy sort of metal band. They popularized that sound of just like down-tuned, chuggy guitars going dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun. It's very, very groovy kind of thing. So we tailored our set list around the fact that we knew what kind of audience we were going to be performing in front of. So I want you to do the same thing whenever you're going and putting on your performances or you're opening up for other people. I want you to consider the audience and tailor your set list around that audience. And if you do that, it's going to be easier for them to connect with you. In our example here, we were opening up for Sevendust. It was the first of 3 bands, okay? So we were opening and we were like, that's okay. But the fact that it was only 3 bands made that a lot better. So we had a decent crowd. So we were, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to put on these heavy, chuggy songs, do our best to just really engage. And our singer, Gabriel, God bless him, he went after it on this tour. He was doing everything he could to get people to move their arms like this, and give the rock horns, to put their hands together and clap, to say, hey, hey, hey. He was doing all the engagement tricks that he could possibly throw out there. He even did the thing where it's like, let's divide the crowd in half. This half, let me see it. This half, let me see it. And people were loving it. And that is where it starts, okay? Selling starts on stage. Now, before I get off the topic of going, off stage, while you're on stage, you need to mention your merchandise, and if at all possible, mention any kind of special things you got going on. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But the main thing is, while you're on stage, you need to point at where your merch table is and say, we're going to be hanging out over there, and look at it and point at it. If you have a merch person running the table for you, say their name. We're going to be hanging out. John's going to be behind that table right there helping you out. We're going to be hanging out signing stuff. Point, draw all the attention. If there's a band of people, everybody should be looking. Everybody should be looking over at the merch table to get the audience to go, where is it? And that way they know exactly where to go when the show is over. Now, how do you do your call to actions? That can vary. What you need to really focus on are 2 call to actions. Right at the very end of the show and before the last song. To me, those are the two most important call to actions when it comes down to your merchandise. You can sprinkle it in through the beginning if you want, but what I like to do is right before the last song, you're going to say something like, thank you guys have been so wonderful. Let me make some noise. Say yeah. And get them hyped up, and then say, we're going to be hanging out at that merch table over there. Come see us. If you guys have had a great time tonight, let me hear you scream. Let me hear you say yeah. Okay, we're going to be over there. This last song is called blah, 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 blah. And then you go play the song. And then as soon as the song is over, you need like a 1-sentence call to action. Thank you so much. We'll see you over there. Thank you guys so much. See you behind the merch table. Don't miss it. Go and drive attention there. Those are the two most, I think, impactful moments that you could do it, because typically by the end of the set, if you have an entertaining, engaging set, that's a great climactic point to introduce that. Okay, that's step number 1. So that's how we got people to the merch table. Because guess what? We didn't put on as engaging of a performance the last time we were touring with them in 2019, and not as many people came over to the merch booth. But when we put on a more engaging performance, a ton of people came to the merch booth. So what's the second step, Dax? Okay, so the second step, whenever you're trying to get more sales from your merch booth, comes down to this. I want to tell you the story first, and then I'll kind of unveil the strategy. So when we were on this tour, we had a pretty standard merch setup. In fact, we actually had a little bit too much. I'll tell you about that on another day. Seven Dust's tour manager came up and said, hey, I think we may need to dial it back a little bit, which I'm like, hey, that's okay. So anyway, we had a pretty good merch setup. We had about 3 or 4 shirts. We had some hats, we had some wristbands, stickers, koozies, CDs, the normal thing. Okay, and so for some of you guys, like CDs, yes, the rock and metal community still buys CDs. Even if they don't listen to it, it's a fun thing that you can sign, and it's sort of a memorabilia type thing. So CDs still have value in the marketplace. They just don't serve the same purpose that they used to. Anyway, so we had this going on, and people would come up to us, and the first thing that they would usually look at were the cheaper items, the accessories and the CD. So they look down, and they see the CD, and they say, how much for a CD? I say $5, okay? Very, very low price. It's an easy point for them to say, yeah, I want that. They don't always verbalize that. Sometimes you just get like okay. That right there, that body language that you're seeing them exude right there is your confirmation that they just said in their own mind, yeah, okay, that sounds good. I want that. So now you've got them to say the first yes. That's great. What do you do now? Here's what we did. Initially, we were like, yeah, could we get you anything else? And then people would say, okay, no, I'm good. The buying loop had closed. But here's what we did after a while. I was like, guys, I think I've got something here. I think I've got something to help us make a little bit more money. So what would happen? Someone came up and they said, hey, can I get a CD? I'm like, sure, they're $5. And they go, how much are the shirts? I go, the shirts are $30, but if you buy a shirt, you get a CD free. They go, what? I go, yeah. If you buy a shirt, we'll give you the CD free. They were like, well, that's an awesome deal. I'll take a shirt then. So what happened there? You took people who were coming up to the merch table, initially basically only wanting a CD, a very small, low-ticket item. And once they said, yeah, I want that, you said, hey, do you want that thing that you just basically said you wanted for free? Obviously, you don't say it like that, but that's what's happening. And you're like, hey, do you want that for free if you just get this other cool thing? And they're like, whoa, that's a great deal. And based on that, we upsold so many people every single night to just, boom, upsell to the t-shirt. Because think about it. A CD, if you do it yourself, can cost like $1 or so to make. But if you have it printed out, it can be closer to $3 or maybe $5 to make. That starts to get a little bit expensive. But here's the deal. If you're making $30, you can help cover some of those losses. Like, for me, it's worth it to give the CD away for free if it means I can now sell a $30 product as opposed to a $5 product. The goose is worth the gander here. And especially if you just burn them yourself and the cost is really, really cheap, oh my gosh, now I'm almost like, please give them away for free if people buy a t-shirt. Because now we're getting people to buy $30 items as opposed to $5 items. This is called increasing the average cart value. Okay, so that was one of the ways that we helped generate more revenue at these shows. We went from having 3-figure nights, making a few $100s, to making 4-figure nights. And that was the beginning of the mental shift of like, we need to keep doing this over and over and over again at every transaction until we run out of shirts or we run out of CDs. And guess what? We ran out of both. Before that tour was over, we had to order more. We knew we were running it. We're like, please order some now so we can get some halfway through here. And in Nashville, we had some merch flown in, got the merch, brought it, and did the rest of the tour, and ran out again. So I'm telling you, this strategy is extremely powerful. Figure out ways that you can have an initial low-ticket offer, or a low-ticket product, that you then upsell into an offer that's a little bit more mid-ticket, like a $30 offer. Now here's a little bonus thing. When we figured this out, we started implementing this every gig we ever play from now until the end of time. And we started creating special offers and putting things like whiteboards on the table to let people know all about this special offer. Now we call our offer the Extra Crispy Combo. The Extra Crispy Combo is a great name, by the way, because it's a pattern interrupt. If someone's walking, by your merch table and they see super mega awesome merch deal, they're like, yeah, that tracks. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course you'd say that. But if you say Extra Crispy Combo, their brain thinks about food, and you're at a show and they're like, wait, do you sell food? Wait, what's going on? This is a band, but it says Extra Crispy Combo. You've broken their pattern that they're used to. So I think coming up with a name like that, that's sort of wacky, don't take Extra Crispy Combo. Come on, y'all. I mean, you can, but don't, let it still work for me. No, I'm kidding. You can use Extra Crispy Combo. It's a great one, but come up with your own. Be original. Create something. Sometimes I've even seen it be beneficial to change the name of the offer. Sometimes you can name it after the place that you're at. So if you're on a tour or a regional run, you're just hitting something up on the weekends, and let's say you're in Dallas, Texas, you could call this the Lone Star Offer, or something like that. But we call ours the Extra Crispy Combo, and it's usually a bundle. I mean, that's the best way to really do higher volume transactions at the merch table, because obviously you're dealing with a lot of physical items. So we would do a bundle where it's almost one of everything, and we have some cool little merch items that have bonus value. I'll get into that some other time. But the main thing is we had an offer, and usually the offer is bare minimum $40 now. We have $40 to $50 offers that we're offering every single night, and people buy these things. And this is what I think to myself, man, how many gigs have I played? At that point, it was hundreds. I had played hundreds of gigs without utilizing this strategy, and I probably left 6 figures on the table with the amount of shows I played, with even the small. You may think, well, I'm only playing in front of 15 people. Let me tell you something. I was in the middle of nowhere, Texas, in West Texas, called Fort Stockton, playing this coffee place that was actually really cool. It's like a metal coffee shop place. And we were in there and we were performing in this acoustic set. Let me tell you something. There were 8 people in that room. There were 8 people in the room. And we were like, we just traveled all the way out here, and there's 8 people in the room. But we're like, you know what? Let's go give them an amazing show. Let's give them something to remember. And we did. We put everything we could into that show. We went over there, and at this point, we didn't even have offers. We were really up in the up-and-coming phases of our career. And what happened is we had about $500, $600 worth of sales from that show with those 8 people. So it's not about, I mean, definitely helps to play in, like if you're playing an arena, your odds of conversion and getting higher ticket sales are, obviously increased because there's more people there. But even in small, intimate venue shows, you can still see a great increase in your merch sales. I played a show where there wasn't 1,000 or more people there. It was a headlining gig of ours, and there was probably maybe 115 people there. We still managed to make 4 figures that evening with merchandise. And so I want you to not necessarily think, oh, I can't do this because I'm not in that perfect scenario, because these scenarios have translated outside of the context of that tour. So I want you to make sure that you understand that, is that it's not just the people who are at the top that can utilize these strategies. It's the people that are just starting out that can utilize these strategies as well. So that's the second step. First step, you got to get them zoned in on the stage. Second step, you gotta get a cool offer or an upsell that you've got integrated into your sales process at the merch table. All right, the third and final step. This is gonna be kind of counterintuitive because you don't make money initially. But step number 3 is you've got to collect their emails. Why does that matter? You've talked about all these cool ways to make money. Why does collecting the emails matter? Well, it's probably one of the most important things that you can do at a merch table. Because put it this way, if somebody comes up to you and said, hey, I enjoyed the show, you did so well. You're like, thank you so much. Here's where most people go wrong. They usually immediately lead into the sales pitch. They start immediately going, can I get you a shirt? Can I get you this? Can I get you this? What can I get for you? That phrase, what can I get for you? What you want to do is provide value to them for free first. How do you do that? They come up, they say, hey, that was an amazing show. I had such a great time. I had a great time. What you said is like, yeah? You had a great time? That's awesome to hear. They're like, yeah, I can't wait to hear. They usually ask this follow-up question. If not, you can figure out a way to insert this information, but they typically ask, do you know when you're coming back? Or any plans on the books to come back? What you can say is, because 90% of the time the answer is no. So what you can say is, no, we don't have anything on the books right now. But if you want to make sure that you make it to the next time next time I'm here, sign up for my email list. Because that way I can email you when I'm in your area and you'll never miss a gig. And we can always hang out and I can share new music with you and all that good stuff, right? They always say yes. I'm telling y'all. This is such, like, if they come up to you and say, I had a great show, or I had a great time at the show, when are you coming back? That's the golden question right there. When are you coming back? Or any plans to come back? Once they say that, you know it's like, I can say, hey, sign up for the email list, because for them to say no at this point, having said what they've said, that would cause cognitive dissonance at this point. Because you've just said, I enjoyed watching you. I want to see you again. And you just said, here's a way that you can guarantee that you'll see me again. If they said no, that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah, I really enjoyed your set. I can't wait to see you again whenever you come through. Oh, here's a way that you can do it. Nah. So did you lie? Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, no one's going to do that. What most people are going to do is say, yeah, okay, of course. And they'll sign up, or they can scan the QR code and sign up on a form that you've got created. And so that right there allows you to not only capture their email information to put them in your email list, but now you can actually do what I just said. Whenever you come back through and you play that area again, you can segment them in your email list to a specific state or province. And what you can do is send that email to just them and say, hey, I'm going to be in your area soon. Here's all the details. Here's the ticket link. Don't miss out. And doing that is a way to increase your show retention. Because how frustrating is it when you go and you play a gig somewhere that's out of town? You do all this work to travel and play. And let's say you play, Idaho. And then when you come back to Idaho in 3 or 4 months, the same people that said, oh, this is so awesome, I can't wait to see you again, don't come back to the gig. You're like, what the heck? I had all these people that said they had a good time and that they want to come back to the gig, but no one's come back. What's the issue? They probably didn't know about it. So you having their email address allows you to actually directly contact them and help them out and get them to the show. So that's the first advantage. Now here's the creme de la creme of information when it comes down to how I was able to generate $14,211.73 in 20 to 21 shows. I was able to do that because I was able to capture their contact information through this email, right? And from there, I can follow up with them and give them more opportunities to support. Because let me ask you a question. if you put on a killer show and you really ensnare people and get them to engage in your show, and you provide a really cool offer that makes sense for them, that they're like, this is a crazy value offer, I have to take this, and you've got their email to sign up, right? Do you think you've built a lot of rapport with that fan? Yeah, you built a lot of rapport up with that fan. So, do you think those people are going to be likely to support you financially with your offers, whether that's merch offers, fan club offers, download this song offers? Do you think they're going to be pretty well receptive? Yeah, absolutely. Now, there's other strategies to get people on the email list that I talk about with my clients, and there's some videos about it. I have a whole video breakdown over that sort of process, so check out my YouTube videos to see that. But the main thing here is that if you can follow up with your fans on a continuous basis and make offers to them without being pushy or sleazy with your sales stuff, and just give them genuine value, tell them stories about your band or your art, and tell stories about how you became who you are and why music is so important to you and important to your journey, I think that's the point where you start to build what we call the core 1,000, right? Those 1,000 true fans that are going to support you financially and allow you to have a career in music. And so this is just three ways that I utilized, three strategies, that I utilized to make $14,211.73 in less than 30 days while out on tour. And I hope that this information blesses you beyond measure, and I hope that you're able to actually generate 3 times, 4 times, 10 times more revenue at your shows utilizing these strategies. And another thing, please like and subscribe if you got some value from this video. It really helps the channel grow. And another thing too is if you'd like to work one-on-one with me, what we can do is set up a discovery call. Just click the link that's in the description and we'll figure out a time that works for you and me, and we can discuss your music business and figure out exactly how to get you from where you are to where you want to be. So click the link that's in the description, and I look forward to seeing you guys on another video inside Musicians Ignite.